gotta record this part because I just know.
I was ready for some questions. I thought he was gonna be. I'm like, shit, he might be asking me
Oh
something.
no, I got some. Don't get me wrong.
All
I
right.
got some.
So we gonna start with a shot daily on toasted on up to qualified TV. No, I'm proud to be on here. You might get some exclusive. Might feel like drink champion. So
Okay, but look, I need any exclusive content. I need that. Man, you make me want to grab a shot. I don't think I got nothing. That's the problem. I'm a little slow on my cabinet. Man, let me see what I got. Hold on, brother. I can't let you take a shot. Now I'll take a shot.
You must got some Amsterdam or something.
Nah, look, this Tito's. We gonna see how this Tito's feeling today.
We can work with Tito's. We can work with Tito's.
We see how this Tito's feeling today.
We can work with Tito's. So toast up, man.
Toast up, man.
To the catch up. It's been a while.
Oh yeah.
They go down.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back with another episode of QUALLified TV. Man, as y'all seen, we done already took the celebratory shot. We done already got ready, got into prime mode for this. But another episode of QUALLified TV, man. Got another very, very special guest, somebody who I was able to go to college with. So I feel like I've seen him, grow, as an artist, as a professional, as a creative, all of that. Saw the inception of it, seeing what he's doing now. It's amazing. So I'll let him introduce himself. And then, we'll just hop right into the interview as we typically do, man. But let the people know who you are, bro, and what it is that you do.
Man, we need some sound effects. Yeah.
Something. I need something. We need something. We need something. I got to get that in, bro. I got to get that, bro.
I got you. What's going on, people? I go by the name Tone. Some of y'all may know me as Freddie. It's 17 different personalities, 17 different names. So whatever rolls off your tongue, I just answer to it. I'm a visual artist, graphic designer, marketing strategist, but I want to talk more on the visual artist side in this interview. I want to talk more on that side because that's a new realm that I feel like I've been wanting to step into, but now it's like the perfect time to step into. So we ain't gonna talk about my marketing strategies and all that stuff. We just gonna talk about, me.
For sure. No, absolutely. That's perfect, bro. And so you kind of encapsulate this just creative realm in general. I feel like I've seen that more than anything. Even as you get into these different avenues, it's still all creative. So when do you feel like you first recognized or understood that you had some type of like creative gene or vibe to you, that you kind of like saw the world, whatever the case may be, just a little bit differently, a little bit more creatively than some other people might have?
For me, it started at a very young age. When I was probably around 4 or 5. I'm an only child, so I had to find ways to entertain myself as well as entertain my mother and my grandmother when I was bored. So it wasn't even about entertaining them because they might be bored. I was bored. So shoot, I'm gonna act like I'm in a circus act. I'm gonna act like I'm on stage performing, and it just started spiraling into I was the talkative child in class. If my work, I would disrupt other people. So I had a teacher that was like, you should be in the talent show. I'm like, what am I gonna do in the talent show? But because I like to perform at home, I'm like, let me go ahead and just rap. That's what I'm gonna do. And that first performance, after the stage closed and I was done, and I heard screaming, and I got chased off stage. Actually, I was like 8, and I did a Bow Wow song talking about when I turned 18. So the girls that I had crushes on that was older, them chasing me just felt like, oh wow, if I could do this at this age, there's something I can do when I get older. Started doing music, and then I had the light bulb went off. Yeah, this is not for me. I'm not going to be a music artist, but I can still gravitate or get people to gravitate to me and still draw people in. I just got to figure out what that is. So, still figure out how to be an entertainment industry. And that's when graphic design came along. I was doing music, and I watched one of my homies do my cover in front of me, and I was like, wow, that's easy. I could do that. And then he started doing music. I started doing his covers. So from then on, it was just like, I can attract people visually. That's my thing. I can see I can pick up on what people want to see when they want to get drawn into it, get drawn into something. And I'll even get kudos to Curtis, when we was in college. Like, I watched Curtis do graphics and visuals and just how y'all captivated audiences. I'm like, I could do that. Like, I don't know why I'm scared to do it because I know I got this creative gene inside of me, but I can do that, you know. And then when Curtis left Como, it was perfect. It was just so perfect that the
Wide
lane was
open lane.
open.
Yeah.
Nobody could do it. And people was telling me, you know, like, you know, people in DQ was telling me like, it's your time now. And I just took it and ran with it, you know, and here we are.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. I think that college is such a incubator and such the like in the best way possible, because once you find a lane, I think college just gives you this perfect, like, it kind of gives you an infrastructure to as a gauge, as you can kind of just see what works, what doesn't. But you have this like test population in a sense, because it's everybody already kind of in this community with their eyes on the same thing, paying attention to the same thing. So it's easy to kind of, you know, test and see what works, what doesn't work, you know, what attracts people, what doesn't. So that definitely makes sense. More so in the lane of like the graphic design tip, there's a lot of people. I mean, this could go for creatives in general, but with graphic design, obviously there's so many, you know, people that can get into, you know, the arena of graphic design. And ultimately, I feel like once you learn some of the foundational skills, it's all about, you know, personal creativity at that point, and how you kind of make your mark, or how you kind of set your own kind of trademark up. What was that for you in terms of graphic design? What did you feel like you had, or what do you feel like you had an eye for that made what you made pop more than what somebody else, you know, was doing?
I'm gonna piggyback off something you said. Like, you can teach people the foundations, but you can't teach people creativity. And that's the one thing of trying to have interns with my business and trying to bring somebody up under me as an apprentice. And it's like, if you don't have that creativity bug, I can't teach you nothing. I can teach you the foundations, but for me, it was, everybody always knew I was an extra person in my own way, whether it was how I was dressing, whether it was what I was doing at a party. I was just extra. But to me, it just felt normal. It's just, I'm just being me. You know, like, I'm not going in the closet like, oh, what can I do? And, you know, people gonna talk about it. It's more so like, I just feel like wearing all white today, so I'm gonna wear all white on campus. That's what I feel like doing. All right, cool. So for me, it transcended into the visuals and how I do graphics. It's like, if that draws people and that gets people attention, that gets people talking, then visually just be over the top. You know, add in little minuscule detail, and you stop and look and be like, wait a minute, why he got that in there? That's hard, but why is that in there? Like, why is there a rocket going across this brunch flyer? Because it gets you to stop and pay attention. It gets you to look. And it's just, that was just me putting myself into the visual. Like, what would I want to see if I was getting attracted to this event or to this, whatever it is that I'm making? If it's for me, I always looked at vinyls when I was younger. I had my grandfather's vinyls. I have them now. My grandmother passed them down to me. I would look at them and I would look at the cover art like, this makes you want to listen to the song, or makes you want to listen to the album. So even when I'm doing covers for music artists, send me your song. I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to create a cover based off what I feel like you should do. And a lot of people are like, oh, let's dumb it down. Let's do something simple. For me, I'd be like, let's go over the top. Let's do something that don't make sense. Like, you know, let's do something that's going to draw people in, because the first one covered, they might not even hear the song. They might be driving, or they might be in a place where the music is not playing out loud. But if they scroll and they see the cover, oh, let me favorite this. Let me come back and listen to whatever this is, because this cover got my attention. You know, so that was me just being extra, you know.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel it because I think a lot of times, and especially as creatives, and you can kind of speak to this as well from your perspective, you told this line of how much of my personality do I put into what I create? Because ultimately, you are trying to market something, you are trying to sell the idea of something. So, how much are you willing to bank on yourself that what is like fire to you, what you think is going to be fire to a large enough group of people to where it actually benefits you in regards to putting this out there? So when you're thinking about, you know, album covers and how important that is to the yes, the marketing, but more so just the attention that an album could grab, like you said, what's your what's your perspective, or what's your thought process on how much of my personality do I really put in there, or what makes you so confident about letting your personality show through your creativity in that way? Because I don't think all creatives are confident in that type of manner.
I think for me personally, I just always had a level of confidence in myself that it was just like, if you criticize it, that's good for me, because it lets me know, okay, what people may like or not, or don't like, or maybe what I'm doing well and not doing well. But I think it also goes back of hearing people like I've had moments where I kind of shied away from my personality and just did what people wanted or, designed what somebody wanted to see. And then I hear people in my ear that, are on my side and they like, show your personality in this. Don't shy away from, who you are. Like that's what draws us in. That's what got us to even work with you in the first place. Your personality. Like if anybody goes on my Instagram or any of my social medias, you rarely see any art besides the art I'm working on right now, which is my own personal art. But
Yeah.
other than that, you don't see no visuals, you don't see no designs because I want you to see my personality. That's what I want you to really work with me for. My art is going to speak for itself, but a lot of people don't get to meet me or see me or be in a room with me. So my way of showing my personality and who I am as a person is through social media. So that transcends the art. Like, dang, he put that much work into his own projects. I know he can do something for mine. Like my birthday, for instance. I'm just whatever I'm feeling in life on with. This year was about love. And I don't, I'm still trying to discover what if it's love with a woman or love within myself or just love with the world. But I said it's the year of love. I did a Jodeci theme. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is amazing. To me, it was just that's how I'm feeling right now. So in the same way with music, I listen to it. What am I feeling when I hear this music? And you're the artist. And sometimes artists can't tell you what they want to see in their cover art or any of their marketing materials or designs. So that's why I say, let me listen to it. Let me get a feel. Let
Yeah.
me see how it makes me feel. And this is how it's going to make everybody feel. So when they see the cover, that's also how they're going to feel.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, bro. And that's a great point about your page too. And I think that's really dope that whether you're considering it or using it as a marketing strategy or not, the idea that you want people to be attracted to your personality, because from there the work is an easy sell because the work is an extension of my personality. So if you see this and this is something you rock with, then any extension of this you would rock with or support, ideally, because it's still me either way you kind of throw it. So yeah, no, I rock with that, bro. That's dope. You mentioned like, working with other artists, like collaborating with them on trying to figure out how to produce something or how to develop something that they want. Where do you think those kind of like people skills develop from? You like, I know you, so I know that obviously people person, like just like a showman in the most respectful sense of the word. Like you're going to be entertained, right? Entertainer. How does that aspect of your personality work when you're collaborating with different personalities? But then also at the end of the day, there's this business aspect where you have to give them a product, right? So what's the balance of I'm good with people. I know I can create this relationship, but there may be some ups and downs with trying to get this final product to be exactly what somebody else wants it to be. And we got to handle the business side of things. How do you kind of balance those two sides of things yourself?
For the most part, at the stage I'm in now, because I've been doing this as a business and as a brand for 7 going on 8 years now, I had to learn, like, handling the business first. I didn't really know that at first. I was more so about just trying to get my name out there, just trying to let people know this is what I do. I may not be the coldest in year one, but if you work with me, I can see where I'm about to go with this.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a stage where it's like business first. Let's get the paperwork out the way. Let's get the payments out the way. Let's get the ideas out the way. Let's do all that first. And then our personalities are gonna, maybe they might clash for a good reason, or they're gonna align. I've clashed with some people on some ideas and it just made it better at the end of the day. Although it was frustrating trying to get to the final product because for me, I'm the artist. I know what it should be on there. I'm the expert in this, but also it's their vision. For me, I just try to be patient with people and just ask the question, can you better articulate your vision? Can you show me something that might inspire me? Or can you ask somebody else to step in and kind of mediate this? Because like I said, people can't explain if they're not a creative, they don't know how to creatively explain. They just know how to say, like, I get the message all the time. I just need something hard. Okay, what you doing? You doing a party? You doing some music? I don't know. I just need something hard. Well, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know. I'm throwing a party. Okay, what's the party? What's the theme? I don't know yet. Well, what am I supposed to do out of that? Like,
Right.
so you got to have somebody step in and be like, okay, we doing this theme. This is the party. Okay, I can work with this now. I can tell you what I would like to see personally. I can tell you what other people like to see. And a lot of people don't notice. I do sometimes send my flyers or logos that I do. I send it off to people around me first and get their opinion. That opinion if the client or whoever says, "Oh, I ain't rocking with this," what's your vision? I'm not seeing. And then I bring in the messages or whatever and say, "This is what people already think about it. Now, what's your thoughts?" Then they'll be like, "You know what? That is actually hard, bro. That is, like." So I think people also need to see somebody else say, "Oh, that's fire," because art is it's your perspective. I mean, your perspective. It's about what you feel. Like you can listen to a song and be like, "That's hard." I can listen to the same song and be like, "That's trash."
Right.
But as an artist, I hate the word trash. Just tell me what you don't like about it. Tell me, what you would like to see better. I think that's a mood killer for an artist. Is you be like, "Oh, that's trash." Okay, what's trash about it? I just don't really like how you put this color in there. So why didn't you even say that instead of saying it was trash?
Yeah.
I probably lost the question, but I hope I answered it.
No, no, I feel like you answered it. And that last part, I think that's really important because, like you said, art is all about perspective. And so that's why a lot of artists and whatever, realm you want to look at it as are very sensitive because, like you said, to call something trash based off of a personal opinion is dismissive to the artist because it's also not beneficial because you're not helping them be better by saying it's trash. When it's like, unless there are specific things you can say that will make it better, just saying it's trash leaves that artist in a space of like, all right, well, how am I supposed to like what am I supposed to improve then? Like
unless I just personally know it's trash. If I know I gave you something that was trash and you say it's trash, okay, I can live with that. But if I feel like I didn't took my time with this,
yeah,
I kind of follow directions. Okay, yeah, like you said, just tell me what I can do better. Don't be like, just don't write it off.
yeah.
So
And another thing you mentioned, having like, a group of people around you, I like to call it like, a council, like whatever the case may be, that you can show work to or bounce ideas off of before you like actually present it to a client or actually put it out there. How important is having a group like that? Because I've had to learn, like, even in just digital content creation in my space, it's like I definitely need to have people who I trust that I can bounce these ideas off of that aren't going to hit me with if I'm having a conversation about my brand or if I'm having a conversation about something I'm about to put out, I want to have a conversation with somebody who I don't have to go through the ins and outs of the what is this, why is this, the who is this for. Like, that's already understood. You can just let me know how can I get this message across better, for this brand. And I think that's really important to have a group of people. So like, how has that been beneficial for you? Like, or any other examples of how it's been beneficial for you in regards to having that group of people that you can send stuff off to, send work off to, kind of get that feel before you even take it to who it's actually for?
multiple different things. I would say it helps because I'm an overthinker. I think most artists are overthinkers. Most creatives are overthinkers. So I'll look at something 4, 5, 6 times and I'll just be like, no, let me change that. Let me do that. Even right now, working on my own personal project, I'm like listening to something the other day and my best friend, she's over here and I'm like, I think I should change something. She like, it's perfect. You just keep listening to it. Like, stop listening to it. So it just lets me know that, okay, another ear is not overthinking what I'm overthinking, and this is a consumer in a sense, your counsel is almost your consumer. So,
Yeah.
Like they're the first line before your consumers. And I get real frustrated. Like, I'm very patient with clients, but internally, like, people, I wish I could put a camera. Well, I could put a camera up and just record me working through the day. And when a client texts me something that I don't like, they say, "Oh, this trash." I'm over here like, "What you mean it's trash?" Like, But when I get back on the phone with them or I'm texting them, I'm like, "Okay, can you just tell me what you would rather see?" Like, it's like a whole shift,
Yeah.
So, I think letting that out first is like, I'm real frustrated right now. Like, I don't want to cuss this client out, but I could if I really wanted to. But I'm just gonna cuss in the air. I'm just gonna let all the frustration out. So that's part of what helps. But the counsel is because I'll cuss with my counsel too. Like, "Man, can y'all believe this? Told me that this was trash," and they'd be like, just talk to them. Just what's wrong with it. Cool. I didn't got the frustration. I didn't vent it a little bit. So that's good to have that person there that kind of helps you, so you don't cuss the client out and you don't, ruin that client relationship. Because it can be some testing day. It can be a day I'm just not feeling myself, and you come at me with something sideways. Now I'm just like not having a bad moment in my day, but you just made it worse, and now I'm going to take it out on you. But no, I choose not to do that. I've done it a couple of times, but we've forgiven each other, and they said apologies on their end of what they did, and I apologize on my end too. So it's just a relationship. It's like any other relationship you have. You got to work through those hardships. But having the counsel is amazing, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now, to be honest.
That's real. That's real. Yeah, nah, you brought up another great point as well. Being in your position, like being founder, CEO, like whatever overarching like title that you prefer to go by, all the decisions ultimately fall on you. So like you can have all these thoughts and you can have people give opinions, but you got to get a final yes or no, ultimately. And it's funny when you talk about like having those moments of frustration. Even recently, I've had times where it's like I'll get a text or I'll get something, and I gotta have my moment of like, bro, what the fuck is this? Like, this don't even make sense. Like, why you ain't say this like a day sooner? Like, but
yeah, that's the big like. Why you ain't say this before, like when I sent it or earlier? Like you saying this at the deadline out. Like, come on.
Yeah, But by the time I'm having that conversation, it's like, all right, I had my moment. Yeah, I was frustrated in that moment, but let's try to figure out how we gonna actually solve whatever the conflict, problem, whatever the case may be. But being the man in charge, being the person in charge, being the person that has the final decision, being the person that has the vision, and you kind of even spoke to it earlier with like interns or apprentices, like if they don't have certain things, it's only so much I can kind of like give you. There has to be an aspect that you bring yourself, and especially there has to be an interest or engagement level that you have on your own accord. Like I can't give you that. So being in your position, how do you navigate kind of being the last line of like yes or no? Like everything kind of has to go through you, and it's your vision. So you're also trying to trust that people that you bring along, whether they under you, whether they working with you, like that they can execute their end or their role to make your vision ultimately come to light. How do you balance being like, the head in that sense? You know what I'm saying? Like how you balance being the top dog?
That's all about discernment. Learning, from previous mistakes of I said no to this and I should have said yes, or I said yes to this and I should have said no, and finding similar situations that I'm walking into now. Praying, meditating, smoking good weed. At the end of this, as far as trusting people with my vision, it's people that's been around me for my whole life that, I'm getting to a point, because I've been honest, like I don't trust too many people with my vision, because it's like I don't know if you can see what's going on in here. Like, it's a lot going on up here. So I need you to, if I say something, I need you to be like, oh, I know where you're going, because I can do that with people. So if you can't do that with me, it's kind of like, I don't know. But I've had people around, my whole life that, I'm starting to trust, and they get where I'm going and they understand. I've had people that had just shown me, I put a project in their hands and they're like, I need you to execute this for me. And this is what I need it to look like. And then they go beyond my expectations. Okay, you rocking with me. You rolling with me throughout this whole duration. I've had people that haven't, and I've tried to give constructive criticism, but some people are not at that level of artistry and creativity to take that. And it's ruined, the relationship. And, I just properly had to step away, I get mad and I get frustrated, because it's just like, you're just not at a level of artist maturity yet to understand that I'm just giving creative feedback. I'm giving constructive criticism, because when I'm presenting something to my team or to my people or even to a client, I like that constructive criticism. So that way I know how to navigate what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well, what can I say yes to in the future, what can I say no to in the future, because there are projects that sometimes I feel like, I don't like doing this. I don't want to do this no more. So it's like, it's not about money anymore. It's about, am I going to have fun doing this? I know the money's going to come. So you know what? I'm going to say no to this. It hurts. It definitely hurts. Like saying no. Like I'm still at that point where saying no, I'm like, I feel so bad. But then my team is like, but would you have been happy? And I'm like, nope. And they're like, well, then there you go. Yeah. That's the answer.
Yeah. No, that's definitely real. And I feel like it's such a weird thing to navigate, but that maturity piece, because I think on either side you own, you got to get to a space where you understand everything. Like it can't be personal. Like you got to remove all type of like personal emotions and feelings out the window. You got to understand feedback and criticism is going to be a part of it. And that should be you saying multiple times that you enjoy getting that, constructive feedback. All that does is tell me like, well, I want to get better. And you can always get better. So there's a evolution there that happens where you understand that feedback at any point is just an opportunity for me to get better. But then also that discernment, all feedback like can't be taken at the same value either. So it's understanding that, okay, feedback from one person, all right, take that with a grain of salt, go about my business. Feedback from another person may be, all right, let me go look over that again and really adhere to what they're saying. Got to have that discernment. My question surrounding that is, in this space where like you're creating this art and you're creating it with your personality from your perspective, when you do deal with constructive feedback or criticism, how do you discern somebody giving you that feedback or that criticism and you don't feel like they engage or they consume your content to, an amount where their criticism holds value? Like, how do you kind of balance that? Because everybody has an opinion, right? So how do you make the discernment of, you got this opinion, but I don't even think you following ABC to understand everything that went into it, or you got this criticism or this feedback, but it's solely based off a personal opinion or perspective and nothing to do with what's going to make this better or how this going to make the message that I'm saying I want to get across come across better to you. How you kind of deal with that? Because I know that's something that I kind of struggle with. People that have opinions on, oh, well, what is your brand? What's the purpose? But ain't watched the interview or ain't kind of took a little bit of time themselves to understand the structure of what I'm doing without it kind of being laid out and like they a child to a degree. Is that something that's frustrating to you? Do you feel like that just ultimately is a discernment thing that kind of goes into some of the stuff you were saying earlier? Or is there like something you got to add to that?
I think, well, you know me, so I'm gonna just tell the people. I went through a period of my life where I didn't really give a damn what nobody thought. If I felt good about it, I felt good about it. If you had an opinion, shout out to your opinion. If you had some constructive feedback, I'm listening, but I got to be constructive. Then I went through a dark period where I took everything personal. Anything you said, I was like, what you mean that you ain't like? But I was also going through my other own situations that led to that. And then I read the 4 agreements where it said, don't take things personal. So for me now, I'm back to that. I don't really give a damn about nobody's opinion, but at the same time, if you give your constructive feedback and you also probe questions with that constructive feedback to get me thinking about what you see, then that lets me know this is some feedback I can listen to, because they're also trying to see where I'm coming from and what I put into it. And if you mention something that's, like you said, if people don't watch the whole interview, but they try to mention something in the beginning, but did you even get to the middle?
Yeah.
To see that I actually tied something back to that. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody says, I like what you did here, but I ain't like what you like, how you transcend it, it's like, it lets me know that you actually were studying it in a sense. Right. So you know what? I'm going to listen because you took time out your day to view, watch, whatever the case be, something that I did. Now, if somebody that just comments some foolishness, I just ignore it, like at the end of the day, because if you get to a certain level of celebrity and famous, you never know where our creative skills are going to take us.
Yeah.
There's going to be people coming that you don't even know across the world. And can you respond to every opinion? No. So why would I get caught up on the opinions now? It's just because I can see them. But once you get to a point where you're getting 5,000, 6,000, 30,000 comments, I'm not going to go through all these. I'm not at all. So I'm not even going to pay attention if I get 15, 20 comments. Right. I'm going to pay attention to ones that make sense,
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real. And I definitely just wanted to get some of like your perspective, because I mean, anything that takes like anything that requires you being vulnerable enough to put work out for other people to consume and critique. Like, I think that it's not enough like given to the person who's doing that, or it's not enough credit given to a person for like, I'm actually putting some type of like myself like out there, whether it's vulnerability in music, whether it's vulnerability in the sense of art, like, because not everybody necessarily possesses the power or the confidence to do that. So I think the people that do have that confidence and that power, like, or choose to exercise it, got to be a little bit more careful with how you or I would say, if you're somebody that knows a creative like that, like the approach to them, like it's not saying that you can't critique them, but the approach to them should be curated in the same,
Gentle.
because yeah, it should be gentle. Because you like you got to come, like if you can come with critiques and also try to understand what they're doing so the critique can be beneficial, then you got my best interest at heart. If you just trying to say you don't like something for the sake of just saying you don't like it, or trying to make me feel bad about it or discourage me or whatever, then yeah, that's pointless. And I try not to take that personally or disrespectful. And yeah, you learn like it's better to just kind of let it beat and really let it fester anyway, because it ain't gonna positively benefit you. But I mean, I still think that's easier said than done for a lot of people.
That's why art is really like the most savage career that you can choose, because it requires you to be vulnerable. It requires you to let people into your life in a way that maybe you not sharing your business, but you sharing your business. Like, you know, when Beyonce said whatever she said and stuff went down on the elevator,
Yeah,
we all assumed it was about the cheating situation, which 99% sure it was. But at the
right.
same time, she didn't come out and say Jay-Z cheated me. So it's how you articulate as an artist too.
Yeah.
It's very savage, to be in this realm, because I do find myself definitely questioning, like, oh, should I put that out? I'm telling a lot in this without saying anything,
Yeah.
like I'm really telling some things. Like, I just put this piece out called Roses While I'm Here. That was just how I was feeling, not knowing that everybody that comment, everybody that messaged and called my phone was feeling that. So I think that's one thing with art, is that we can resonate with people in ways that a lot of other people can't. So when you get those unnecessary opinions, it kind of like, I don't really care. That just means you ain't relate to it. And it's not relatable to everybody. But the people that I did touch and did impact, it meant a lot to me, because I wasn't doing it for that. I was doing it because I just wanted to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah, that's a big aspect of it as well. Yeah, a couple other things I want to ask as well, man. So what do you feel
Man,
like
I'm here
was
all day. What's up?
yeah, what do you feel like was your lowest moment in your
Ooh.
journey as a visual artist? Like, do you feel like you had a rock bottom moment? And if not rock bottom, just what do you feel like was a low moment where you kind of was like, man, I got to change my approach, or I got to change my perspective, or it's like something got to change. That's how low the moment was.
I would say as a creative, a low moment in my life, or any creative's life, is a low moment even in your art life. So I would say that pandemic era, that before the pandemic, I was going through a very tough breakup. I was going through a very tough relationship. And on top of it being, I just moved to Atlanta. The pandemic happened, so I couldn't be around family, including my mother or grandmother. They're all the way back in St. Louis. So it wasn't like I could just hop on a flight or drive and go home, because they didn't want to even be around each other. So it's like, I'm alone.
Mm,
I don't, I haven't been alone in a while since I was a little kid. And
mm,
when I was a little kid, it was to my mom, so I really wasn't alone. But now I'm alone. I'm out of college. I'm not around my friends because everybody's scared of COVID. I'm not even with my so-called girlfriend at this time because we going through it. And so for me, that was a very dark moment of not eating, not sleeping. My mother would call me on FaceTime, like, have you gotten up yet? It's 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It looked like it's about midnight in my house because the blinds are closed, no lights are on, no TV's on. I'm not even listening to music. And everybody that knows me, if you're watching it, you know how much I love music. So for me to not be listening to music, the only thing I could do was work and produce for clients, because I'm like, the bills still got to get paid. But I had got so low that, and this is probably gonna sound good and bad, like I got so low one day that my supervisor at my job called me and she said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Not really, but why you ask?" And she was like, "You just sent me like 10 things in a matter of 2 hours and it's all fire, but are you okay? Because this is not like you take your time, but you did a good job." And I'm like, "No, I'm just trying to distract my mind right now." That took me through a spell of, like I said, mild depression, and just, I didn't really know who I was anymore. I feel like I had like lost myself, and it wasn't solely because of the relationship, but that was just like the straw on the camel's back for me. I was already, like, dang, I just moved to a new city. I got to start life now. Like, I'm paying bills now. People losing their jobs. I don't want to lose
right.
my job. I just moved to Sunnyvale, and to just feel like I didn't have anybody to really lean on in that time just was very, very that's where I probably got back more spiritual. I wouldn't say religious because I practice things from different religions um, that are not cult-ish, because I don't want nobody to see this and be like, oh, but I do meditate, which is not of Christian faith. That's of Buddhism, so I do meditate, but I also pray on top of it. And smoke weed. So that I think, and that was another thing. I started back smoking weed. So that is very therapeutic, y'all. I don't know why people be saying it's not, but you just got to do it in a healthy manner.
Right.
And then, for those, I do shrooms too. So that was a very good thing that reversed everything around. It was just a wake up moment and just like, get back to who you are. You've been in this dark valley long enough, climb the mountain now. It's time for you to get up and kind of just transform my life. I think I was also in a period of caring about too much about what people think. So I wasn't really doing me. Like anybody that knows me my whole life, how long I've been wanting to grow my hair out. I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to start growing my hair. I'm finally going to do it. My fashion, I wanted to step into just a wild fashion look, just something that just looked more like me. Like I like being able to go into buildings. Like I went somewhere with my mom and they were like, are you a rapper? And I'm like, my mom's like, no, he's a visual artist. And I'm like, that's kind of where I picked it up too. Because she stepped in and was like, he's not a rapper because I'm dressing like I'm just dressing fashionably.
Yeah.
So that was my dark moment, and that's how I turned it around. And I encourage anybody that's in a dark moment, once you get into a good headspace pocket, do some shrooms, smoke some weed, and I guarantee you will come out on top.
Weed. Nah, but I mean, hey, to the weed point, I do feel like a lot. I mean, and we in a different era now where it's not nearly as taboo as it used. But it, like you said, it's all about like doing it in a healthy manner. Like anything can be abused if you're going to abuse it, but it don't have to be. It can be very therapeutic. And another thing I want to say is thank you for being like vulnerable about like that dark moment, because I think there's a lot of people, especially around that pandemic time, that went through something like that. And I know for a lot of creatives, that time, I think every creative kind of went through a damn, like how does this pandemic affect what I do? And then it was like, okay, how can I like turn this around? Like how can I, still find creative ways to do what I love within the pandemic? And we saw that happen a lot as well. But I mean, it's always tough
because the world shut down. We like when the world shut down, businesses is closed. It's like, damn, I ain't got no clients right now. But luckily for me, I was blessed enough to have clients that were still doing stuff despite the pandemic. Right. So I was getting blessed on my end. Now this writer strike, I need them to hurry up and wrap this up because this is affecting me a little bit more than I thought. But it was very dark because, in that time, creatives either blew up or they went off the grid. Like, meaning like you don't hear about them no more.
Facts.
I was blessed enough to be in the middle. Like I didn't blow up, but I didn't fall off either. I kind of just stayed, like I was still trying to climb, despite the depression, despite how I was feeling. It was like I had to do it for me. I had to wake up every morning and be like, okay, if I don't go to the gym, if I don't eat, let me at least do something visually. Let me at least do something creative. That was where the Shack started too. So I'm gonna dive into this story real quick because I got time, man. I wanted to have this conversation with you when we set it up. But that was a time where I really set the phone up and the Shack was just showing people I was doing shrooms and so I was like, oh, we in the Shack. I didn't know that's what I'm doing. It was not my crib. It was not where I lived. It was none of that. It was my mindset. My mindset was like, I'm in the Shack. Like, I called it Tone Psychedelic Shack to start, but I was like, that's too long. It don't roll off the tongue. I'm gonna just call it the Shack. Yeah. And people gravitated to that. People was rocking with it, and I was doing it like solely in my close friends because I was a little skeptical of showing people I was doing shrooms and things of that nature. But then when I started bringing it up, people was like, I'm in the Shack too. Like, damn, okay, I'm you not really, but I'm fucking with it. Like I'm rocking with it. So it was like one of them things where you kind of just had to figure out something new. I just got done reading Rick Ross' book, and he said, him not doing shows and things of that nature, he had to find new ways to make money and stay relevant without looking goofy, without, doing something that wasn't on brand with him.
Right.
And I felt like with the name High Tone, me smoking weed and doing shrooms, that was very on brand. Right. So, it wasn't like I went into it like that. It was really like it to heal, and I ended up turning it into something. So, thank God for the pandemic. I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, I probably would have still been in that space, but I'm glad it worked out.
That's real. That's real. Yeah. I mean, I think the pandemic, outside of its effect, of course, like on the health of, the world, from the perspective of what it allowed for creatives to do, like that push, that challenge almost of how you gonna still find a way to have your creative outlet or do what you love doing, even though it looked different now. I think that challenge definitely set a lot of creatives on a path that may not have been there if not for that. So that's real.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you have a biggest lesson from your journey thus far?
Ooh, I got a few lessons. My biggest lesson, um, don't depend on other people more than you depend on yourself. I found myself in a lot of spaces, even recently, depending on other people because they said they would be there for me, or they said I got you, or that sense. And so it kind of took pressure off of me to execute in a way. Like, oh, they said they got me. I'm trusting that they got me. I'm trusting that they going if I say I need you to go get some or need you to come, do something for me that's regarding me filming or whatever the case may be, or grading something, and then they don't show up, I would kind of get down like, dang, bro, they not. I would show up for them. I do show up for them. I show up for I show up for anybody. That's my way of, I think, just being me. Is I like to show up for people, and if I can't show up, I find a way to show up, even if I send somebody or whatever the case may be on behalf. But yeah, don't depend on other people more than you depend on yourself, because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. So even little things, I tease people about it. I'd be like, hey, I need you to call me at 5 a.m. to wake me up for the gym. If they don't call, who's the next person I got to depend on to get up? Me. So It's like, if I don't get up, I can't be mad at them for not calling. I got to be mad at myself for really not having the discipline to get up anyway. So that's more so what I'm saying in that point. But however you take it, it was a deep statement. But yeah, don't depend on people more than you depend on yourself.
That's real. I feel that's a huge gym though, because I think however you want to apply that, it fits every like whatever level you want to put that on, it fits, because it's all about accountability. Like you got to be able to hold yourself accountable. And more importantly, even in like the creative sense that you were speaking to earlier, nobody's more times than not, 9.5 times out of 10, nobody's going to care more about you than you. It just
nobody cares. Like it's like don't depend on people for your happiness. Like
right, yeah,
you got to make yourself happy first. They just there to enhance it. Whether they just there to enhance whatever you got. You got to set the foundation for what you want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Biggest accomplishment or the accomplishment that you're most proud of in your career so far?
I got two things.
Okay.
Three things actually. Let's go three. I like number three. So the first thing, everybody knows I'm a big fan of Puff. P. Diddy, all the names he got. I think that's kind of where it came from. But I've always been like that as a kid. I had so many different names as a kid in school because that's just how I stood out, being the only child. But when he posted me and he posted my work before, that was an accomplishment in itself. Like people called me, was like, Diddy just posted you? I wasn't even by my phone. That was the crazy part. I wasn't even by my phone when it happened. So when they did, people was calling me like, Diddy just posted you. I'm like, dang, for real? Okay, cool. So on top of that one, I'm gonna do a double whammy with that. I ended up not meeting him, but being in the same atmosphere with him a couple weeks ago. So it lets me know we one step closer to having that dance battle. So Puff, if you're watching this, it's a dance battle that you don't know about, but I'm gonna kill you. The second would be finding myself again. That was a big accomplishment because it just put me back into a zone that even when I do get thrown off, one day I'll just wake up and be like, get it back together. I'm not down for too long. Like I might rest on something for a week at best, but I'll let it go too further than that. I don't like to really stay down because I know what it felt like being down for months, and I'm like, a lot of time got wasted. I lost a lot of things that I had to try to gain back during that time, including myself. So finding myself was a great accomplishment. And not really tripping about what other people think on top of that. Like, you know, when I started growing my hair, people like, you growing your hair out? I don't know how you gonna look with that. Me, I dreamed about it. I knew how I was gonna look. I knew people was gonna rock with it. So when
Right.
I'm doing different hairstyle, like I done went from the twist to the braids now, and people like, all right, I'm liking this. I was like, I knew you was. Like, I found myself. So you can't tell me nothing at this point. And then the third thing, I got a tie on this one. I think comes in saying getting certain opportunities that I've gotten. I worked with, and this is going back to the Diddy thing, but even just in entertainment as it goes, I worked with a lot of people around him. So like I said, that just lets me know I'm one step closer to that dance battle, and even just working with him and seeing if I can create, you know, that people say I'm similar to. On top of, I have done a visual that Chris Brown's name was on, so that was a big accomplishment. I remember I was about to actually go out with some friends that day, and I get the call, and they're like, "We need you to do this cover art, and it's featuring Chris Brown." And I looked at my friends, and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Yo, y'all, we gonna have to like stay in for like another hour. We're already headed out. Like people was looking up Ubers, like we about to leave." And I'm like, "If y'all give me an hour, I can finish this." And I had to tell them who it was for so they could understand. They was like,
Right.
"Take your hour, bro. Like, take your hour. Like, this is amazing. We can. The club's still gonna be there. This might not be there when we get back
Right.
from the club." So I'm like, "Cool." So yeah, the many names that I worked with, you know, the list is longer than I even dreamed of. You know, it's certain names I still want on that list, and maybe I'll hang up doing certain things at that point. You know, I really want to get out of the flyer industry. I want to solely focus on my visual albums, and I want to solely focus on doing cover arts. I want a cover art that is nominated and wins a Grammy, and or, you know, whichever one. I want to creative direct music videos. We don't have good production in music videos no more, but the fact that I can story tell is, you know, let me creative direct your music video, and then you get nominated at the VMAs, and I get that award too. You know, those are things that'll I think I'll bow the game gracefully and find something else to do. Maybe I'll just solely focus on my visual albums, and that's how I'll become who I am. Figure out how to make money off that. But those are the big three right there. So
Yeah, no, those are real, bro. Those are major accomplishments. I know how big the Diddy thing is. So Diddy, yeah, look, I got a horse in the race in the dance battle. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm going with Tone. I'm gonna let you know right now. Well, so,
I've
but
been practicing for this dance battle for years.
I
I
know.
I remember I was telling some folks, I was like, "Hey, I think Puff gonna be in the room." They was like, "All right, so you're gonna bop left, and then you're gonna go right, and then you're gonna hit him with another bop right." And they was like, I was like, "Damn, you got this down to a T for me." Like, this is how you know when people support your foolishness and your dudes, but no, like that's that's going to enhance his happiness. Like, you
Yeah.
know, that's just what's going to make him happy. And I think another lesson I learned going back to that is, I think when I was dealing with my depression era and my ego era, I didn't really understand other people's vices. And I wouldn't say I was judgmental, but I would look at certain people like, what you doing that for? Like, why are you doing that? Like, you know, that's not right. But then you got to understand, like, people got to bump their head on their own. People got to run into a brick wall on their own. And you can lead them to the lake, but you can't make them drink the water. All right. So at the end of the day, I had to get into a space of, I bump my head too. I got my fuck ups too. So who am I to sit there and look at somebody else fuck ups with a stank face? You know, that's their vice. You know, I'm not a big drinker, even though we started this with a shot of DeLeon. There's 3 more bottles over there that's full. So that lets you know I'm not a big drinker. That's for people when they come over. And so I got into that era of like, oh, you drinking like that, but not remembering who I was in college. Like, I could down a bottle myself, but because I started smoking, I guess that was what, like, I was like, oh, I don't know about that drinking stuff. I don't know that you doing that. Like, you went to the club every day, but that's sometimes people happiness, and I had to understand that. That's sometimes they escape. It might look weird to us, and you know, it might look, because that's all, it's social media. They post whatever they want to post. They could post them at the club every day, but you don't know what they're doing when they're not at the club.
Right.
Same way that people, they be like, you smoke every day? Maybe I don't, but you only see when I smoke every day. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an old video. Maybe I'm just posting videos that's
But that's old.
Right. So yeah, I think that was one of my biggest, I would say that's an accomplishment too. Like not being able to judge people's vices anymore. I just look at it like when people come to me with stuff now, I just be like, okay. I mean, they'll learn, I guess. They'll figure it out. I don't be trying to sound too assholish, but I'll be like, I
Right.
guess I might talk a little shit, but I'm not finna be like, well, I'm not gonna call them like, well, you shouldn't be doing that. No, they let them do it. They grown people at this age. Even if they not grown. Even little kid, like let them do what they want to do. That's how people figure out who they are.
Facts. That's real. And that's huge because it's such a subconscious thing for a lot of people, like to fall into that just judging because it's easy. It's easy to look at
Mm-hmm.
somebody else and just say, oh, why? Oh, you doing that. Not one, either not remembering where you were or putting yourself in their shoes, or two, just not knowing what somebody else is even going through, how that became a vice, why it's a vice, whatever the case may be. So that's another gem, bro. Okay. All right. We went through all that. Question. Final question. Man, we've talked a lot about your creative journey. Like so how you've grown, things you've experienced professionally. Well, we also talked a lot and you touched a lot on just how you've grown personally in your personal, journey, just in terms of becoming a man and finding yourself. All these things considered, everything that we talked about, man, all the things that you touched on, what would you say as a visual artist and then also just in general as a man makes you qualified? What makes High Tone qualified?
Oh, damn, that's a good question, bro. What makes me qualified? I think the fact that if you know me, I persevere. I stick to my vision. I stick to my goal. Like if you was around when I was, younger, and then if you was around when I was in college, the direction of the vision might have changed, but the vision that I had never changed. Like there's things that I would tell y'all I was gonna do in college, and y'all probably was like, okay, how you gonna do that? Or, well, he just talking. But now that you like, damn, he's still at it. Like he ain't stopped. Like I remember him in the parties with the Ciroc bottles. Now he got the De Leon bottles. Now he's really sitting next to Pup. It's like, I had to take different steps, but I think that's what makes me qualified is that not only did I persevere, but I stayed persistent because there were difficulties along the journey. There were times that I wouldn't say gave up on myself, but I became doubtful. Like, okay, when is it going to happen? How is it going to happen now? It looks different than what I thought it was going to look like before, you know. But that's all, a lot of people can persevere, but they can't be persistent, like persevering is just, you just keep going, persistence is like, boom, this just hit me. And how am I going to keep going? Boom, the pandemic just happened. How am I going to make more money and get clients or still make the same amount of money? Boom, this heartbreak just happened. How am I going to dig myself out of this hole? So I think that's what makes me qualified is that I persevere and I'm persistent.
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop. There we go.
Perfect way to end the answer, bro. Man, look, as I say with every interview, man's done dropped gems. I don't know what else to tell y'all. If y'all ain't picked up on some of the gems being dropped, that's just on y'all. Y'all really missing out. But he's touched on a lot of the great work that he's done. So, bro, please let people know where they can find you and find just some of your work, generally speaking. We go ahead and get up out of here, man.
Yeah, man, for the most part, everything is on Instagram. I'm on Twitter and TikTok too, but that's just me just being me. That's just me just having fun with life. But Instagram is more where you can see both worlds, all the worlds. I'm trying to get them to give me this name, but I still got my old name. It's Lil_Freddy. That's LIL_FREDDY. If y'all can go report the people that got the name High Tone, no, we can do that. We can verify it, and I can be on my way to, big things.
Facts, absolutely. Yeah, but definitely check them out. I mean, for people that have known you, bro, I think the journey's been amazing. I know for me, it's just been cool. Like, obviously, like same class, in college, man. So seeing everything you've been able to do, like, since leaving, has just been honestly like inspiring, always challenging me. Like, man, he's still at it. Like, I gotta keep at it, bro. You know what I'm saying? So definitely want to be able to say that to you and make sure you hear that from me. But yeah, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this interview. I'm sure y'all did. Like I said, I don't know what y'all didn't. Y'all got jokes, y'all got gems. I don't know what else y'all want. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, until next time, until next episode, I'll catch y'all next week. Peace.